Have you ever heard a story so strange, so chilling, that it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? Imagine a heavy stone tomb, sealed shut for eternity, that decides to open itself. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. It's a real-life mystery that has baffled locals and experts for over a century. In a quiet, unassuming graveyard, there lies a tomb that defies all logic, a silent stone structure with a secret it only reveals every few years. Graveyard caretakers, making their rounds on misty mornings, would find the impossible. The massive multi-ton marble slab sealing the entrance had been moved. Not just cracked, not just shifted, but slid open, revealing the darkness within. How could this happen? The tomb itself is a formidable vault, built into a hillside, and its door is a slab of solid marble so heavy it would take a team of strong men and equipment to budge it even an inch. Yet, time and time again, it was found ajar. There were no signs of forced entry, no crowbar marks, no footprints, no evidence of human intervention whatsoever. It was as if a ghostly hand had simply pushed the stone aside. The first time it was discovered, the local community was in an uproar. They resealed the tomb, cementing the slab shut, thinking it was a one-time, albeit very strange, act of vandalism. But a few years later, it happened again, and again. Each time, the heavy slab was moved. The seals were broken, and the dark entrance to the tomb was exposed to the world. The tomb belongs to a family named Chase, and their story is steeped in tragedy and local lore. The vault was originally built in the early 18th century, but the strange occurrences began after Colonel Thomas Chase, a notoriously difficult man, was interred there in 1812. When the vault was next opened in 1816 for another burial, the workers were met with a scene of complete chaos. The heavy lead-lined coffins, which had been neatly arranged, were thrown about the chamber as if tossed by a hurricane. The only coffin that remained untouched was the simple wooden one belonging to the very first occupant. Utterly bewildered, the workers painstakingly rearranged the coffins and resealed the tomb, even adding extra layers of cement for good measure. 4 years later, the call came to open the vault once more. The governor of the island, Lord Combermere, was so intrigued by the rumors that he decided to witness the opening himself. A crowd gathered as workers chiseled away at the fresh cement. The seal was intact, untouched. There was no possible way anyone could have entered. But when the massive stone door was finally rolled away, the scene inside was even more shocking than before. The coffins were again in a state of violent disarray. One was propped upright against the wall, another had been thrown with such force that a piece had broken off. It was a scene of utter pandemonium, all within a perfectly sealed, undisturbed tomb. The mystery deepened. How could these incredibly heavy coffins move on their own inside a locked chamber? The local population, understandably terrified, turned to the supernatural for answers. Legends began to swirl like the graveyard mist. Were the spirits of the Chase family so restless, so tormented in death, that their spectral rage was powerful enough to hurl their own laid caskets around the vault? Some whispered that Colonel Chase, a man known for his cruelty in life, was continuing his tyranny in the afterlife, refusing to let his family rest in peace. Others believed the tomb was built on unhallowed ground, cursed by forces ancient and unknown. The story of the moving coffins became a ghost story told in hushed tones, a local legend that drew morbid curiosity from all corners. The idea of spirits with the physical power to move objects weighing hundreds of pounds was both terrifying and fascinating. For many, a paranormal explanation was the only one that made any sense. After all, what else could it be? Frustrated and determined to find a rational explanation, Lord Combermere devised a clever plan. After the coffins were once again put back in their proper places, he ordered fine white sand to be spread across the floor of the tomb. This would act as a primitive but effective detection system. Any intruder, human or otherwise, would leave footprints. Then, he oversaw the resealing of the tomb himself. This time, he didn't just use cement. He had his own personal seal pressed into the wet mortar, an official mark that would be impossible to replicate. The tomb was now more secure than a royal treasure vault. Everyone waited. The years ticked by, and the legend of the Chase Vault grew. 8 months later, for reasons that are lost to history, the vault was opened again. The governor's seal was unbroken. The cement was solid. There was absolutely no sign of tampering. With bated breath, the crowd watched as the slab was moved. The sand on the floor was perfectly smooth, without a single footprint or disturbance. But the coffins, they were scattered once more. The chaos had returned. This was the final, baffling proof. Something was happening inside the tomb, something that left no trace, defied locked doors, and possessed incredible strength. The mystery was no longer just a local tale. It was an official, documented enigma. The natural world, it seemed, had no answer. Or did it? For decades, the supernatural explanation reigned supreme. But as science progressed, investigators and researchers began to look for more earthly answers. Could there be a hidden mechanism, a secret left by the original builders? This theory was explored, but a thorough examination of the vault revealed no hidden levers, no secret passages, no ingenious contraptions. The tomb was just a simple, solid stone box. So, scientists turned their attention to the environment itself. The tomb was built on a limestone island, in a region known for its tropical climate and occasional seismic activity. One of the most compelling scientific theories points to natural gas. It's possible that decomposing organic matter within the sealed tomb produced gases like methane. Over time, pressure could build up inside the airtight vault. If the pressure became strong enough, it could conceivably exert enough force to pop the heavy marble slab outwards, moving it just enough to break the seal. This sudden release of pressure would create a turbulent rush of air inside the small chamber, potentially powerful enough to shift or even topple the heavy coffins. Then, as the gas dissipated, the slab might settle back into a slightly ajar position. This cycle could repeat every few years as the pressure rebuilt, explaining the recurring nature of the openings. Another related theory involves water. The tomb is built into a hillside, and the area experiences heavy rainfall. It's plausible that rainwater could seep through tiny, unseen fissures in the limestone, slowly flooding the sealed chamber. As the water level rose, the buoyancy could lift the heavy lead-lined coffins, causing them to float and drift around the small space. When the water eventually receded, seeping back out through the same fissures, the coffins would be left stranded in new, chaotic positions. This flooding and receding could also create pressure changes that might affect the door slab. This explanation accounts for the movement of the coffins without needing any external force to enter the tomb, and it aligns with the island's geology and climate. So, what is the truth? Was it restless spirits, a clever trick, or the simple, powerful forces of nature? The final chapter of this story is perhaps the most telling. After the incident with the sand and the governor's seal, the family had had enough. The coffins were removed from the cursed vault and buried separately in the churchyard cemetery. The moving coffin tomb was officially abandoned, left empty and open for all to see. It has remained empty and undisturbed ever since. The chaos ceased the moment the bodies were removed. This fact could support either theory. Perhaps removing the bodies appeased the restless spirits, or perhaps removing the source of decomposition stopped the buildup of gases. What we are left with is a fantastic story where the line between fact and folklore is beautifully blurred. The mystery of the Chase Vault reminds us that even in our modern world of science and reason, there are still puzzles that defy easy explanation. It shows us that sometimes the most mundane forces of nature, gas pressure, flooding, can create effects so strange, so seemingly impossible, that we invent ghosts and ghouls to explain them. Even in death, in the quiet stillness of a graveyard, the world can move in mysterious ways, shifting stone and leaving us with stories that will echo for centuries. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of history's strangest mysteries. If you enjoyed this dive into the unexplained, Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories that challenge what we think we know. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.